morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the channel today. Today we're going to be talking about Soqued Hozi, who is the angel of partnership. Now, before I get into the detail of it, I just want to acknowledge those people that are returning visitors to the channel. Thank you for your ongoing support. I'm glad that you're finding the content useful. If you're new to the channel, I offer a variety of video types, drawing upon my own experience and the learning and gathering of information that I've done over the last, couple of decades, quite a few years now. And I used to hold workshops online and face to face, but I'm no longer doing that. So I offer these information videos to people so that they can access the content at their comfort and convenience. And so if you are new to the channel and you find the content interesting, if it's a value of you, I encourage you to like and subscribe because obviously that helps me get the message out if you like. And that's the whole aim of the channel here, is to try and empower people by sharing information with them. Now, of course, you might have different views and perspectives on the content that I load and the information that I provide. So I put this little bit of a disclaimer in there saying these are based on my understandings to date at the time that I create these videos. Now, if you've got more information, if you can expand on the content that I load, if you've got thoughts, comments, anything at all, I welcome and encourage all comments, because I don't consider that there's anything negative. Even if you felt that the content that I loaded, that I'd somehow misinterpreted or misunderstood, and you feel that you can expand on it, or it's you've got a different way of doing things, sorry about me smacking my lips there, I still welcome it, because this is about the channel is about providing information in an earthly way to enhance the experience for us mere mortals on the earth plane. And of course, the way we enhance it is through the development of our connection. It's an expansion, it's a personal development, it's a spiritual development, and it's expanded awareness. So getting back to the content I'm going to be talking to today, or talking about, is with Soqued Hozi. I imagine there's going to be quite a few people that will be interested in this content specifically, and they may have a lot of different information or different experiences that they may actually feel inclined to share. And this is because we seem, certainly from my experience of delivering readings and services, this business of soulmate and sacred partnerships comes up all the time, particularly from a romantic perspective. You know, it can be that people are yearning and trying to connect with what they think is a soulmate. You know, I just want to meet my soulmate seems to be a catch cry. Or it can be, I've met my soulmate and things aren't happening as I thought they would. It's not particularly happy or joyous for them, and they feel confused. They get very, very confused, like, what's going on, you know? And they will turn around and say things like, I felt like I was guided. It was like when I met them, it was like my soul recognized them. I just loved them. They didn't even need to speak. The love was there. So there's a number of reasons why people can have these experiences, and we're going to talk about this throughout the video. But of course, before we do, we're going to take a little bit more of a deeper dive, shall we say, at what Soqued Hozi's goals of creation are. So when we talk about goals of creation, his role is basically about creating a balance within our partnerships. Now, when we talk about having a balance, this is keeping a balance of not only how we feel, our emotional state, but being honest with particularly within our partnered relationships, okay, because he is the angel of partnership. So when we talk about the truth, it's also this being aware of how we feel, being open about how we feel, being transparent, not suppressing, not denying our feelings to accommodate our partner's emotional needs. We have to be honest with ourselves and with our partner to be able to navigate tensions in a relationship. Now, the other thing is that as far as who and what he is, he's a first order heart angel. And if you're new to the channel, we're going to talk about this in the next slide. But if you're a returning visitor and you've watched some of these videos before, you might just sort of think like, oh, really? Do we have to? If that's the case, feel free to skip the next slide and crack on to the other ones. I've put timing chapters in the video description so that you don't have to waste your time, because I know time is irreplaceable in an earthly form. So, for those people who are lucky enough to have open gifts of clairvoyance, when the first order heart angels present, they present in a really soft shower of warm light, and they're distinguishable from the other angelic orders because they have what appears to be arms reaching out to enfold you in this angelic embrace of love that they have. They're a little smaller in stature than the archangels, and they tend to emanate a shimmering pink and green light, and this light will trail off in multiple directions. They also have a soft glow about their faces, and this is a reflection of the light that's in their heart chakra, because they also have chakras too. Now, I want to be clear here, when we talk about what the angels look like, obviously the images that I make are AI generated, so they're not necessarily true to form. Well, actually, they're definitely not, because I put wings on them and I humanize them. Which actually, they are very different to humans from an auric perspective. But the other thing is too that, to be clear, when I have seen them, which I don't see them all the time, I think perhaps that the miracle of the universe includes that we have some interactions with them where we might see shape and form, and other times it becomes about seeing the light outline. Now, I can honestly say that when I have looked at angelic auras, when I've had that privilege, I don't actually see the facial features, is the best way of describing it. So when I say that the light reflects off their heart chakra and up to their face, what I'm seeing is an indicator, shall we say, of what it is, but not necessarily a clear outline. So everybody's different. I actually do know of people that have had quite clear visions of them, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, the role of this particular group of angels is to receive the visions of the Creator and to project it to other people. And part of their energy is this really deep desire to care for other people, and it's combined with a very deep gratitude. Now, if you're a big picture type person with a desire to care for others, you will have a softness about you, I would imagine, that makes you irresistible. You probably deny this, but I can tell you that there will be people that work with you. I've worked in the field, quite some, with people with a lot of problems that they're addressing. And so I've met these beautiful human caretakers that are just so gentle and soft, and they don't have to strain or try. Their client base will engage with them because they're just so non-judgmental and so loving. And this is what I would envision that you would be as well. And if you're like that, well, then you're probably working with the heart angels. I'd be very surprised if you're not. And you would be encouraged to follow the call of your heart. So let's get into the messages that are conveyed by Soqued Hozi. And the first thing, of course, is divine partnerships, or the intimate romantic partnerships. They've got a very special dynamic where both parties have a commitment to love and the love between them. And when a person finds a divine partner, the relationship is tremendously uplifting, supportive. It's satisfying. Every day becomes a celebration of the next one, and it's better than the day before. There's a fire and a passion that is free of the pettiness of the karmic relationships and other partnerships. There's also a synergy between you where you can interact and cooperate with each other in such a way that if you were both working individually, you would never achieve the same levels of achievement or success, shall we say, than what you achieve when you're working together, because the relationship builds upon the strengths of the individual, and you're happy to support each other for this greater goal, that whatever it is that you're working towards. Whatever goal you've got is the product of the unity of creative thoughts and feelings, And this sharing of resources between you goes far further than what you could have imagined achieving if you were doing it on your own or alone. Now, when we talk about divine partnership love, this can be like a lifeline to survive even the most dire of circumstances. And at the same time, it magnifies happy events into this real joy and celebration of accomplishment. It just takes it to new levels. It's a transformational love and connection. What else can I say about this? When you connect with each other, it's like the old limiting, restrictive beliefs. They melt away and they're replaced by new beliefs that provide this new level of awareness and understanding. And if you do cement the relationship and commit to each other in a marriage type ceremony, then the celebration of this marriage and unity of partnership, it transcends the limitations of the physical and material world that we live in into a cosmic love. So the message from Soqued Hozi is that the divine intimate partnership is one that is divinely inspired. It is the divine idea made manifest. Twin flames, oh my goodness me. Now they are the other aspect of ourselves. And these are the types of relationships where there is a soul recognition, okay? And they're called a twin flame because when the soul was created as a divine spark, it was created with its own polarities. If you've checked out the content on universal law, you will understand that life is this ongoing series of duality and polarity. There is a balance to everything, and that includes our own soul creation. We were created as one unit. That's two, I suppose you may as well say, like the twins that I've got on the image. You have two twins within the uterus. Well, one part, basically how am I going to express this as I struggle with language myself, my first language. So basically, when our soul is created, it's created with its own polarities of masculine and feminine. And of course, within each of those polarities, there is a masculine and feminine component as well. But the point being that when we have a twin flame, if you do meet them, okay, you will find that you have had the same experiences simultaneously across each life path, even if you didn't know each other, right? In my experience, the people that I've met that have experienced it, me too, actually, they had basically at the same age, the same events happen, but there's somewhat of a variation. So I'll stick to the simple. There was a gentleman that connected with his twin flame. He was aware of it, and he told me that they had both had a front tooth knocked out when they were a certain age. Basically, it was a bicycle-related accident that took out an adult tooth, but let's say his was on the left, hers was on the right, something like that. And when they go through their life path and they start talking to each other once they've connected, they find all these similarities of occurrence across their life path. Anyway, back to the messages. Each soul is encoded with a need to reunite with our twin, okay? So we all, I guess, carry this yearning inside us that we want to meet with our twin flame, reconnect with them, but it doesn't necessarily happen for each lifetime. Just because we yearn for each other doesn't mean that we will find each other. Now, the other thing is too, if we do manage to find our twin flame and connect with them in this lifetime, as I said, there's an automatic recognition of the soul that occurs between you. It's beneath the surface, and it's actually, if you're not spiritually or energetically open before you meet each other, it's mind-blowing, okay? Because words aren't necessary. There's just this inexplicable love, care, and connection that goes beyond words, and it's just known, and you feel it in your heart. Honestly, it's quite amazing. Anyway, when we reconnect on the earth plane, it's generally for a specific purpose, and that will usually be revealed as ultimately whatever we do in this life path, shall we say, on the earth plane, is basically designed to bring us back to the Creator and to reconnect. And so what happens when we meet our twin flame? It's not necessarily an immediate reconnection, but because it's such an incredible relationship and it goes beyond the material, because you can connect on a mind, body, and spirit level that ends up being telepathy. There's so many miracles that are associated with this that are magical, that even if you didn't believe in divinity before you met the person, the inexplicable feelings and experiences that happen with this relationship, it fosters this desire to open the mind and go, you know what, actually, this doesn't make sense. There's no earthly explanation for what is going on within this relationship. Basically, there becomes this knowing through this connection that there is more to life than this one particular life that we live in. And when we meet, it's kind of a trigger. It's like a switch gets turned on energetically, shall we say, that encourages growth. Now, the other thing too, what causes a lot of grief for a lot of people is when it comes to, so this is my experiences of this information that I'm sharing with you, is that most people that do connect with their twin flame, it's generally not for a lifetime, because you've both got your own journeys, and that can actually be quite devastating for us when we do reconnect with them, because the love is so powerful. It's just so strong. But the fact that we actually meet with them is just such an amazing, miraculous blessing that you go through your whole lifetime appreciating it. So, soulmates and balance partners, they're also divine partnerships as well. And they're a little different. Well, obviously, they're a lot different, actually, if we get down to the nuts and bolts of it. The twin flame is the twin flame. Soulmates are also associated with this instant recognition, not necessarily always an inexplicable love, but quite often that is associated with a soulmate relationship. But there is a magnetic attraction to them, definitely. Even though you may not have had much conversation with the person, you might not have communicated with them in any great depth, but there is still this magnetic attraction. So it can be when you fall head over heels in love with a person and you're responding to their essence. Okay, this is because you have most likely known them in a previous life, and if it is a romantic attraction that you're experiencing, then it's because you've obviously had romantic and potentially even intimate relations with them in a previous lifetime. Now, usually when a soulmate relationship where the partners reconnect in this lifetime, this is actually about working out the karma of the past where there's unresolved issues. So this is why not all of them appear to be positive, okay? They're not always divinely guided. This is about choice. This is about karma. And they don't necessarily lead a person to reconnecting with the divine aspects of life, if you like. Some may actually have the capacity to disrupt and interrupt in negative ways and take us off our path. It becomes a distraction. Now, the idea of soulmates is usually, as I say, about resolving conflicts of the past. And this can be where, in the past life, one partner may have left the other one and the other one struggled to let go, things like this. But you both meet on the current earth plane to work this out and to address it. Now, this is where it becomes very much about free will. The idea is that you establish in your current lifetime if this is a relationship you want to pursue, or if it is a relationship that you actually just want to let go of, and release each other gently so that you can have future lives apart from each other and not have to work through this ongoing cycle and repetition of unresolved karma that you bring to each other. So sometimes soulmates come together to be able to let go peacefully. But I've got to put this big disclaimer on there, but sometimes they come together because it's about free will and everybody's in control of their own growth. You may actually get together in this lifetime, and where both people are willing, both parties are willing, you can actually reach a point where you can have a very healthy relationship on the current life. And I can think of a couple actually where this has happened. They've been together for about 35 years. And I recall when she decided to marry her husband, her now husband, she told me that she believed that they were soulmates. Well, I'm inclined to agree. There's a certain comfort attached with them. There's this real unconditional friendship and love when it becomes a healthy one. But this is all stuff that you've got to work out. If you feel that you've met your soulmate, this is something that you will need to establish for yourself, whether or not it's healthy, whether you choose to remain with it, if you can work together, because relationships about both people, not just one person. So, balanced partners, now they are not necessarily romantic, they can be, okay, but at the same time, they are another beautiful blessing that we have with connecting or to connect to in the lifetime. They're generally the people that you meet along the way, and they help to bring balance into your life. Now, we're in a time of the evolution of consciousness, if you like, and balanced partners tend to be on the same frequency, and they say and do things that help us to awaken to the feelings that we have within ourselves. And if we are carrying emotional baggage or whatever, they can actually help us to heal and restore balance to the way we process information, shall we say, or even the perspective that we might hold about the past. So it's definitely a healing type relationship. Now, they will show up. You will connect with a balanced partner when both your souls are ready to share. And by that I mean share feelings, share thoughts. It just happens because remember, it's about magnetic attraction. They can live local to you. So, because we live in this modern time of technology, a balanced partner can actually be somebody that we connect with on the internet. And I think in many ways this explains why people say, oh, I just love this person on the internet, even though I've never met them, because they're there for me. I talk with them, I share with them, and all the rest of it. So there are so many different ways to connect and find each other when it comes to balanced partners and to share parts of yourself. You might share your innermost workings, you might actually share your insecurities, and you both help each other to grow. You look forward to talking to each other, and even if it's an online relationship, it could be about texting, it could be about messages, but either way, the relationship ignites something in both of your souls that creates this internal balance. And I would just put in here my personal feelings or my experiences with this is that I actually did meet a balanced partner as a romantic partner, and it was a very healthy, very positive, very constructive relationship. And I'm being totally honest here. When I met the person, it wasn't wrapped in the package. I didn't realise that I had stereotypes before I met the person. And so this, I guess I'm saying, just to be aware that when your balance partner comes in, if you're looking for a romantic relationship, it might not come wrapped in the packaging that you expect. But the beauty of the soul, right? The beauty of the soul is what comes to the surface in these types of relationships. And if it's not a romantic partnership, they are just really positive, wonderful, happy, healthy relationships where there is excitement and where you look forward to catching up with each other and having a chat or just being with each other. So the message of Soqued Hozi here is actually about sacred intimate partnerships, and these can be friendships. Just to reiterate here, they can be intimate partnerships as in romantic, or they can be sacred friendships. And the bottom line is, when you enter into these relationships, you're both on a journey of self-discovery, and they can be a lover, a playmate, a confidant. They can be a caretaker, right? Whatever type of relationship you're in, there's an emphasis on trust, truth, and honesty. Now, trust can take time to build, especially when two people have separate wills and ideas, because if this is the case, then conflict's going to occur. Now, conflict in itself, says Soqued Hozi, in itself is not a problem. It can lead to a greater soul expansion, personal growth, and a deeper understanding of self and your partner. However, conflict is unhealthy if it leads to attempts to try and control the other person, okay? In a divine partnership, each party feels free to speak their truth, to express their feelings, including feelings of anger, hurt, shame, not just the loving feelings. They will speak the truth of what they feel, but they will deliver it in loving ways. Trust is a byproduct of feeling safe to express not just the good, but the glad, bad, and sad. Each party respects each other enough to listen to their full emotional expressions, and a sacred partnership is actually committed to seeking the truth in love. Now, what this translates to, the way I hear it, is it means saying what you feel in as kind a way as you can, and to strive to communicate uncomfortable feelings in respectful ways, and to overcome and conquer any fears of being abandoned. If we tell the person what we really think, or how we really feel, or whatever. So many people suppress and deny that aspect of themselves because they're scared of being abandoned, or that the person won't love them anymore if they really see them for who they are. Well, in a sacred, intimate partnership, there is this is not a concern, because the love is there, especially when the people are committed to the relationship. Okay. So what have I got here? Few people will feel truly whole until they have found the right love partners. Look, I think that's debatable, actually. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. I mean, that is the message that... Actually, do you know what? I've just processed that as I talk to you. And actually, I've decided that I agree with it. Yes, I would say many people feel that something is missing in their life until they have found this sacred, intimate partnership, and that's when they start to feel whole. Now, another one of Soqued Hozi's messages is that sometimes business and friendships develop the levels of intimacy that's required to attract Soqued Hozi. He doesn't turn up for all partnerships, okay? Business partnerships inspired by the divine idea, they're synergistic. Where there is an outpouring of this creative ideas and options for success. So you're guided to be open to receive these inspirations and then take actions to manifest them. Now, what he says also is friendships that have developed this level of intimacy are actually quite rare, and the guidance is nurture and cherish these friendships, because there is an opening of the hearts to each other. They become privy to the inner sanctum of a person, and support and honesty is obviously essential to these business friendships as well, in deep and meaningful ways. To be able to do this, or to have these kind of friendships, it's a real gift to be treasured, actually. They don't come along too often across the life path. If you've got one, treasure it. Let them know you care about them. That's my advice, by the way. Let them know you appreciate them. So the reason why this truth and transparency, the openness with each other about feelings, is important for relationships is because when we repress our emotions, it acts as a barrier, okay? Repressed feelings create undercurrents within relationships, whether these relationships are romantic or not. And Soqued Hozi's advice is they create a wedge or a block in the relationship, and these blocks are exposed during moments of conflict, which is why conflict is a blessing. However, the thing is, often when people are having a conflict within their relationship at that current time, things might be a bit heated, they will then bring up the past in these moments. And this is, according to him, unfair. And according to me, I must say, it's unfair to both parties. It complicates the current misunderstandings, and it compounds feelings of hurt. Now, balance and fairness are vital in relationships, and partnership means finding an agreeable solution to any of the problems so that they can be addressed individually at the time that they occur, not a couple of months down the track, with a big surprise attached to them. As you develop your own levels of awareness, you're going to be able to recognize and notice the subtle ways that you, okay, not your partner, well, you might notice them too, but you're going to notice within yourself how you manipulate yourself and the people around you. And this includes judgments and expectations of how you believe your partner should be acting and responding to you. So, in addition, he explains that in intimate relationships, all the pressing issues will come into play, and to establish where you're at personally within the relationship and how healthy your relationship is, there's a few questions that you can ask yourself. Does your relationship make you feel trapped or free? Actually, It's not, does your relationship make you feel trapped or free? It's more about, do you feel trapped or free within the relationship? Has the relationship offered you an opportunity to be creative and your partner? Is it synergistic? Are you working together to achieve goals? Or do you end up feeling depleted and less than who you are? That you're denying aspects of your own truth. Often the feelings that we have got absolutely nothing to do with our partner. They are a result of our current attitudes and beliefs. It's about us and where we're at. Um, are you or your partner possessive of each other? Do you feel guilty because you've got separate interests or separate friends? Do you feel resentful if your partner's got separate interests and friends? Do you feel that you need to hide some of your activities from your partner because you're concerned or fearful that they're going to disapprove or judge you harshly for what it is that you like doing? And then the other thing is, does your partner keep secrets from you? Are you afraid of your partner? Is your partner afraid of you? Do either of you attempt to manipulate or control each other's behaviours and actions? So where we're going with this is the relationship that you're in currently, if you're in one, is it based on an equal partnership? Now, from my perspective, I just want to put an observation that I've made in the process of delivering services here when we talk about equal partnership and balance. I just want to make sure that people understand that there are different ways of having balance. Okay, so we get this idea, I did, that a balanced partnership is one where you both make decisions always together, where, if you decide to do something, it's like, let's sit down, have a conversation, we'll go and do X and Y. Both parties are in agreement. What I have found during the course of delivering services, though, and by that I mean readings, tarot readings, stuff like that, is that there is another form of a balanced relationship. And it's actually when there are two very strong-minded, independent people that come together in a relationship. And they come together actually because they love each other. This is a really important thing. It would be easy for us sitting on the outside to assume that it's an unhealthy love, but it's actually not. And this is the beauty of delivering services, is you actually get into the inner sanctum because people will disclose information to you that they might not necessarily tell anybody else. So anyway, where I'm going with this is what I've actually learned. I'll use an example without naming people. I had a client and I thought she was a bit of a doormat, that's me being judgmental, to her husband, who was a professional footballer. And anyway, long story short, what I found out over the passage of time was that actually she wasn't a doormat at all. It was she was being a supportive wife. Her husband's profession was his career, and for 6 months out of the year, basically, it was all football, 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 right? And during those times, she would suck up those aspects of herself and her own independence to support him. And of course, they had young boys as well. They had children to support the boys and the male people in the family unit to do their passion, if you like. But at the end of the season, that was when she was starting to get a bit itchy, a bit toey, and she was fed up with it. It was like, right, now I've had enough. And it was just really funny because what would end up happening is that she would assert herself and say, no, we've done yours now. You've had your 6 months. And literally anybody that I have seen in these kind of relationships, it is like 6 months of the year, I call it he wears the pants and calls the shots, and the other 6 months of the year, it's her. But because they're both so strong-minded and independent, that they willingly hand over the power, shall we say, in the relationship. They willingly do it, but it's not a natural way of being for them. So they hanker to get back their autonomy. And so at the end of 6 months, they're starting to have a little bit of conflict in the relationship, a little bit of snappiness might be happening. And then they have their big conversation and then they resolve it. And then the balance comes back in. Amazing stuff. So I think that little scenario that I just gave you kind of paves the way to the next part of Soqued Hozi's message, which is that as you heal and transform yourself, you'll find that your needs, desires, and wants are going to change. And with an open heart and an open mind, you're going to be able to grow together as a couple. So there is a vulnerability of intimacy that allows for the exposure of issues. The conflicts are opportunities to be grateful for, and they are a powerful way to blast through the old judgments and limitations and the feelings of imprisonment or being imprisoned by your emotions. You're able to quickly reunite in love and compassion for each other after a conflict. So the advice is, of course, as part of this healing and transformation, is to try and take on the role of witness or loving observer within your own emotional reactions to the behaviours of your loved one, and to use these opportunities to create a gentle shift towards greater love. The objective of the divine partnership is one to continually find more understanding, more truth, more honesty with yourself and with each other. So, Soqued Hozi, obviously being the angel of partnerships, he gives the advice or encourages you, if I can speak, to call upon the Creator and him for insights and courage to make tough decisions about your future with your current partner if it's necessary, particularly if you feel that you can no longer be united in love with them, and if you were to decide to end the relationship. Strategies or tips would be to ask for help to find the right time and understanding for the highest good of all involved, especially if there's children involved. Now, if you've got difficulty leaving the relationship, ask for support to release your old feelings and judgments. If there's pain and anger, just acknowledge it without blaming the other person, and ask that this anger be transformed into compassion and understanding. There's no requirement to agree when we accept, okay? We're accepting that person for who and what they are right now today, but we don't necessarily agree with their actions or their behaviours. So the advice is constantly ask for your relationship to be filled with more love, and to invite Soqued Hozi in to inspire and energise you. So I've put up some invocation suggestions there for you if you're in an existing relationship. So his advice to those people who are currently single and haven't been able to find the right love partnership at the moment is basically ask yourself if you've got a fear of intimacy or commitment, if that's the issue, and to remember that your primary partnership is actually with yourself. This is your essential relationship, okay? So it's about uniting your masculine and feminine aspects that lie within. Now, I will put up a healing meditation for that at some point in time. But basically, his advice is develop the same vulnerability with yourself that you seek from another person, and be totally honest, loving, compassionate, and kind to yourself. The quality and quantity of love that you can share with others is the same quality and quantity that you can share with yourself. Now, to put that into perspective, just remember and think about this. We will often do for others, but many people won't do for themselves. And by that, I mean show kindness. So it's about being kind to yourself as well. Now, you could also make this invocation that I've put on this slide to be open in the. Actually, I just stumbled on my own words. I've got a distraction. It's called That Little Puppy. But anyway, yes, I put this invocation up just as something that you might be interested in drawing upon. But the same advice comes through from Soqued Hozi, that if you're going to invoke for your divine partner in this sacred relationship, be open, have an open mind, have an open heart, because they don't always turn up in the package that you imagined and envisioned them to be. You can write your little list down if you want, but that's not necessarily your divine partner. So just a reminder, when you finish doing an invocation, always finish with gratitude, with heartfelt thanks. Gratitude is an ascension attitude, and the more we're grateful, the more blessings we bring to us to be grateful for. So while I would encourage you to do it at the end of your invocation, I also am human, so sometimes I might get distracted. I might be doing something and then forget to put my gratitude in afterwards. So I tend to incorporate gratitude at the beginning of an invocation. I do the thanks in advance, and then if I don't get distracted at the end of it, I will repeat the gratitude just as part of incorporating and recognizing the blessings that we receive. There's always something to be grateful for. going to be doing a slide on gratitude as well. That's coming up in the near future. In the meantime, I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm going to say thank you for being part of my journey. That completes the information I can share with you today. The video is getting very long. My apologies for that. But I wish you well during the week. Have a wonderful day, glorious day. Please feel free to let me know what your thoughts, comments are. I look forward to reading them. And hopefully at some point in time, we'll be able to develop a group gathering. For now, though, I'm going to say love you, leave you. Catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.